Welcome back, Gundam guys and Gundam gals. Patrick Grid here from GGInfiniteNews.com, and today I'm happy to bring you the first part of the review for the real grade Gundam Mark II in Titan Color. So in this video I'll be taking a look at the individual parts and pieces of the kit, all the accessories, as well as give you my initial impressions of the kit. So make sure to use the chapter selection part of the info section down below if you want to hop around to check out specific parts of the kit. Let's start by taking a look at the inner frame and move on from there. So here we go. Alright, so let's start the review by checking out the inner frame. As you can see, it's looking really nice here. The inner frames on the real grade have gotten better and better over time, and there's a lot of extra detail here on the inner frame for the Mark II. A lot of great detail in the legs. And you can see back here the piping and the copper wire being used. The only issues that I really have with it so far are around the ones with the knee. You can kind of see that the piping is fraying there at the edges. I don't know how that'll look with the armor on, but I may need to go back and revisit that and fix it up a little bit. And don't worry too much about cutting the tubing. You have some left over that you can use if you mess up on one or two, so just be careful, but don't worry too much about it. And the articulation and the detail here in the legs are pretty amazing. You get a bend at the mid-thigh, and then backwards at the knee there. So you can see quite a bit of stuff there moving around, sliding in place. You can see how the piping there gets hidden beneath the calf muscle. In the ankles, you can see on front here these pistons. When you bend the ankle down, the piping and the piston slides out. Of course, on the Master Grade and the Perfect Grade, these are chrome pieces, so they look a little nicer there. But I think it's really awesome that that's all included there. This was a single piece on the Advanced MS joint frame. And you can also see here in the ankles how this joint here kind of slides up and down with the ankle movement. And the piping goes in between there and slides down inside. It's really amazing detail there in the legs. And then for the hip joint, there's an extra gray piece here in the center to cover up a gap, and you get a huge range of motion there. Very stiff and solid joint, and kind of clicks out when you get to the end to stay in place. So it's a little less impressive when you move up to the upper body. Not in a bad way, it's just not quite as much stuff going on up here. And then there's one issue that I have in the torso. This little bit here is a free floating piece in between the upper and lower body. And there's no flat piece that it rests on, so it kind of gets caught on the edges and stuff there. There's a gap here between this piece and where it connects there, so you can kind of hear it snapping around. It's getting caught there. I don't know how that'll work when everything's put together, but for right now it's a little worrisome. You can also see the red cockpit in there. It actually forms around the center spine of the kit, so that's kind of a neat way to do it. We have the two green pieces here in the upper chest. So checking out the arm and shoulder articulation. Up here on the shoulders you can see it pops out from the torso a full 90 degrees there, as well as able to go up and down quite a bit. And there's this part up here that can move around with it and separately. I'm always a little worried about bending the joints too much without the extra outer armor on. On my first real grade, the RX-782, I broke the upper leg area by moving it without anything extra on. So be careful when playing with your MS joint, because they can break sometimes. But for the elbow, you get a bend there at the bicep, as well as in the forearm. So a full 90 degree bend there as well. And there's also a few sliding joints here, one in the bicep here. And then the elbow, you can see it kind of slides separately from the upper bend here. And the wrist is also quite mobile, but I think that'll go away with the outer armor on. And these are the basic hands that are attached to the arms on the inner frame. So you get a couple more sets to play with as well. A lot of good mechanical detail here. Here's some cutouts for the vents. And then on the back you get some cool lines there as well. The neck is fully articulated. You can go way forward and backward. So I think the inner frame by itself is almost worth the price of admission for the real grade kit for the Mark II. Definitely a lot of amazing articulation and extra detail that I haven't seen in the previous real grades. And it just shows that they're starting to layer the inner frame a lot more, adding some detail in between the inner frame and the outer armor to make the inner frame more complete. So definitely a very good step up, I believe, from the original real grade. I built the Freedom, but I don't remember too much about it. I need to go back and look at that again to kind of compare the inner frame so far. But this is definitely a really impressive kit as it is. Alright, so starting at the bottom here with the feet and legs, which are in my mind the most important part of a kit, specifically in the real grade and master grade and perfect grade, just because the legs typically have the most amount of intricate mechanical detail, articulation, and just really shows off the quality of the kit all around. So the real grade Mark II has some exceptional legs, some great color separation here with the two different tones of blue, the yellow for the vents. We also have some gold stickers on the sides here, and there were supposed to be silver stickers here on the kneecaps, but I scratched my silver stickers up so they don't look very good. And then the opposite side here, some more separation of the blues, another vent. And you can see quite a bit of the mechanical detail poking through here in the light gray, as well as having the piping here on the back of the knees, and also underneath here, the calf armor. You can kind of see it there. And this will start showing off the articulation here as well. Just by moving the feet around, you can see the sliding ankle area. That's really impressive. Tip it back, some it goes up, bring it forward, it goes down. It's a really awesome detail there. The ankle armor itself attaches to either side of the foot, and it's on a separate little joint there and can move around pretty freely. The toes can come down quite a bit, almost a complete 90-degree bend there. And you can also see the pistons beneath the ankle armor if you get stuff out of the way. Really cool stuff. So amazing articulation just in the feet and ankles. And it's a really easy build down here. You might think there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, but it's just a couple of overlapping pieces. And a lot of the details achieved just by the MS joint frame itself. So it's really amazing how much is going on down here just in the feet and ankles. And looking at the knee, you got a couple sliding plates here. The knee separates from the front, and at the 180 bend you get the thigh separation there as well. So an amazing amount of articulation there, a crazy amount of separating and moving parts, and it's all smooth, real tight joints. The piping even goes underneath there pretty smoothly and hides the edges and stuff when it comes out. So just amazing here in the legs. I'm going to be saying this a lot with the kit, but really a fantastic amount of detail, and it's really solid too. As you can see, I've been moving stuff around a lot, and nothing at all has fallen off. With the first real grade, we had the RX-78-2, of course, and there's a lot of issues with the outer armor and stuff falling off and just being really unstable as far as a build goes. But as you can see, a lot of moving stuff, real stable, just really good. And also here in the legs, you get an opportunity to change between the test version of the RX-178 or the normal anime version. So on the left here, you have these extended vents that come out a lot farther from the area than the ones on the right here. This is an entirely different setup here. The yellow part and the dark blue part here are separate just for these particular parts. And they're real easy to swap off. They just rest here on top, so you can pull them off real easily to change out between the two. So a couple of different options there for your design choice. Alright, so here is the waist unit. And like I said before with the legs, there was a lot of issues on the RX-78-2 with the front skirts falling off and just the torso being real insecure. But this guy is really amazing. Both front skirts are separate. You see the back plate detail here on the back part of the skirt. It clips in really securely. I've never had these guys fall off at all. The side skirts are really good as well. They're on a separate moving joint there. They have a little clipping hand that they clip into place there. These sometimes fall off, but it takes a lot of effort to get it off. And it's probably better if it does fall off so it won't break. So real secure there. The back skirts, you see the mechanical detail poking through with the inner frame coming out from the behind there. You get some good articulation here as well. And the two sides, just like these guys, are independent of each other and they can move in and out. The back skirt can do the same thing. So you get some wiggle room there to move stuff around. Now also you can flip down the back plate here to store the Hyper Bazooka on it. So that's pretty cool. And there's so the colors, the dark blue with some nice dark black, as well as the light inner frame gray poking through for the detail. You can see the vents down there in between the dark blue pieces. All around looking fantastic. Really pretty solid, except for, like I said, the side skirts can come off, but they do clip in place pretty solidly, and they don't come off very often. Alright, so taking a look at the torso here, which has some really great color separation and attention to detail, as well as a couple different options here for the vents. On the right here is a normal version of the vent plate, and on the left here is the test version, which is a little bit different. There's a single small slit there that you can kind of see the vent detail underneath, like you can here on the right side. So a couple of different options there if you want to have the test version of the Mark II Gundam. The black flips up and the red flips down, so you can kind of see the red ball inside there where the pilot sits. but of course there's no pilot in there. They don't provide a figure for that. The green cameras here on the chest are individual clear green pieces, so they show up really nicely. It's kind of hard to show here, but you can see the ab crunch kind of deal going on there. And this is where the waist unit plugs into the torso, side to side and front to back. And the back here we have some open areas with the attachment point for the backpack. And up here on the neck we have some neck armor that allows the neck to move back and forth quite a bit. So depending on your personal preference, you can have the test version of the RX-178 or the normal Mark II version, so that's pretty cool. And it's real simple to change out. They just pop off here from the front, so you don't have to remove anything to get at it, which of course makes it real nice. Alright, so next up are the arms and shoulder armor. These are two separate pieces here. You can see that the shoulder armor can pop off. It slots into place in this little groove here using the gray piece there, which provides quite a bit of articulation here for the shoulder armor. You can see it can come up quite a bit and move independently of the rest of the arm. So looking at the arm here separately, looks a little weird without the shoulder armor on, but there is upper bicep swivel. We have some wrist articulation here, can go up and down quite a bit there, and the hand can move freely in the ball joint. The elbow joint is as impressive as the knee, providing for a complete 180 bend there. You can also see a couple moving pieces. Not quite as intricate as the legs are, but the piece here on the elbows is separate, as well as there's a little joint down in here that kind of slides around like a piston. On the back of either forearm is an attachment point for the shield. And on the front here you can see that the gold stickers that go along the elbows do get scuffed up from the bending of the arm. So they kind of look weathered as they are just for being on there a day or so and having a couple bends. Maybe that should have been recessed down inside the elbow a little bit to provide some extra room so it doesn't scratch against the mechanics there. But all in all, some good color separation. We have the dark blue poking out of the light blue here, again with the mechanical detail of the inner frame poking through here as well, and just some really nice detail panel lines and all that kind of stuff. So looking very good, although they seem pretty thin and a little less bulky than the legs, but the arms do look better with the shield and the weapons attached. And as with the legs, you get two different shoulder setups. On the left here is the test version, which has a somewhat more blocky vent area. So a nice choice between the designs there. This does involve taking apart a majority of the shoulder armor. The top part separates, the vents come off, and you have to apply a different top part here in different vent sections. So a little more complicated than the leg area, but not overly so, and it can be done pretty quickly. So next up is the head, and although it looks great by itself, when compared to the rest intricacies of the kit, it seems a little bit plain. But don't let that fool you. You can see that there's color separation there in the vents. Maybe a little hard to see on my camera, but the inner frame gray is poking through the vents there. So the same clear green plastic that's used on the chest is also used in the head here. One large chunk of clear green is used for the eyes and the forehead and back camera. And for the eyes you have a couple different options of how to decal them. I chose to use a black border with the clear section for the eyes. The eyes don't light up quite as much as I want them to, so I may go back and apply the green foil stickers there just to give them a little more pop. So anyway, really nice detail, a lot of good panel lines, two different tones of the blue with the red goatee and the red poking through the vent there. You can kind of see if I line it up right, as well as the red jewel and the nice yellow V-fin. No real seam lines that you can see. On the back here is where these two halves connect, but the seam line itself is down in a groove, so the design really helps hiding that quite a bit. Next up, let's take a look at the backpack. And if there's one area I would complain about on the kit, it would be the backpack, and specifically with the thrusters here. They're real easy to fall off. It doesn't take much to knock them loose, and they're kind of small, so they're able to fly all over without too much effort. So it would have been nicer if they were a little bit deeper, just to allow for them to sit deeper down on the peg there and hopefully stay in place a little bit better. But that's really the only issue that I have with this kit with stuff falling off is the thrusters here. So aside from these guys, it's a really solid build. So looking at the rest of the backpack, we have these articulated arms up here that store the beam saber handles. They can move forward and backward and in and out some. And like on the knees and the calves, you can see the piping here going from the lower backpack to these arms. And the piping can move around with the arms to add some unique flair there. And looking at the back of the backpack, you can see there's these little hook arms that slot into place on the back of the torso, so it holds in place pretty securely. So taking a look at the beam saber handles, you can see that they clip into place there on the sheath as well as on the peg there. So they're stored there very securely. And the handles themselves have some nice detail. You can see the little trigger mechanism there. This pegs into place on the hand if you want it to. Otherwise, they're pretty simple. One piece, nothing here to put together. And when you put the super long beam sabers in the handle here, you get a really cool effect. These guys seem overly long for the kit, but I think it looks pretty cool. So we have several different options when it comes to hands for the Mark II real grade. These closed fists that come installed on the MS joint plate, as well as the standard issue real grade articulated hands that can have bends on the finger joints as well as the thumb joint. You also get a single fixed post hand here that's somewhat open. These are pretty typical on high grade and master grade kits. And finally, there's a trigger finger hand for the rifle and the bazooka, but I will show you that when we get to it. So the Mark II Gundam comes with a set of earmuffs here that function as a Vulcan Pod. This clips into place along the outside of the head and goes around the back. I mistakenly called this a communication pack in the unboxing video, so I apologize to the guys that caught that. We have the dark gray with the lighter gray around the edges, and then the nice foil sticker there and the sensor for the camera. So next up we have the iconic Mark II shield, which I've always thought was pretty cool. I chose to put a couple stickers on here, the destination stickers 03 and the Titan sticker, as well as a couple other ones that I may leave on or may take off. I just don't like the way they sit on here. There's too much clear border, and it sticks out from the plastic a little too much for my taste. But the gold foil up here does look nice, and the separate red piece here is also very nice. This is a collapsible shield. It folds in on itself along this little track here on the back. It's very sturdy, nothing falls off, and moves around very smoothly. On the back side here we have the connection point for the forearm. It can connect to either forearm with this little peg, which is able to rotate around 360 and kind of move around in place there as well to give it some extra posability. And we have a few extras back here as well. A couple extra ammo packs for the beam rifle that clip it in place, but they do cover up the eye hole. And there's also this thing down here. I guess this is a specific weapon. I couldn't find anything about it in the manual, but I guess I need to look on the wiki and see what it is specifically. But that just sits in the bottom here like that. Again, the shield is looking really nice, pretty intricate detail for a smaller shield. I've always enjoyed the functionality of it. So taking a look at the beam rifle, a pretty nice looking weapon here with a couple of different colors. We have the dark gray surrounding the light gray, as well as a little different colored handle here. A couple points of articulation with the handle that can swivel up and down. There's also a sight here on front with the green sticker that can flip down and flip back up, of course. Even though I do like the design of the rifle, and the 1/144th scale looks a little underwhelming, it just feels kind of small to me, but all the design elements are there when compared to the master grade and perfect grade. And you also get a removable ammo pack down here at the bottom that clips into place pretty securely. And the kit does come with a single trigger finger hand here that holds in place really well on the rifle. There's a peg on the palm of the hand that pegs in place nicely with the rifle handle. So very secure, not going to fall off anytime soon, unlike the beam saber handles and the articulated hands. So again, all the design elements are there. It's nicely constructed, but it just does look a little small in my mind. And you do get several ammo packs. You get one for the gun, two on the back of the shield, and an extra fourth one that you can put in a bag somewhere. And the rifle can peg into place here on the side skirts pretty securely for storage. You can go on either side if you wanted to, but it holds there really well. So next up is the Not So Hyper Bazooka. Suffers from the same problem as the rifle, being a little underwhelming when it comes to size. All the elements are there from the design. You have the movable handle, the removable ammo pack here on the back. It also comes with a secondary pack for storage on the side skirts, and the sticker there on the front. Again, it looks really nice. It's just that it's a little small and kind of somewhat puny when compared to other Hyper Bazookas, like the Hyper Bazooka from the Unicorn Gundam and that kind of thing. So again, it does look good. Some really nice detail there in the plastic. Good colors and separation. I just wish it was a little beefier. And like the beam rifle, you can use the included trigger finger hand to hold onto the bazooka. You can see the nice deep peg there that pegs into place nicely on the hand and provides some extra security when posing it. So definitely a good way to go here. So I'll go ahead and wrap up the first part of the review here. I'll be back as soon as I can with the second part. We'll take a look at the completed mobile suit, articulation and posing, as well as a comparison between the different versions of the Mark II that I have here, and perhaps I'll get a chance to look at the different real grades that I have as well. So be on the lookout for that. It may take a couple days for me to get to it because I have an impromptu trip that I'm going on this weekend. So I'll get the second part up as soon as I can, maybe Saturday or Sunday. So let me know what you think of the kit and the video with a comment down below. Like I said several times in this video so far, I really enjoy this kit quite a bit, and I hope you guys have enjoyed watching the video and will take the time to buy your own kit and enjoy it as much as I have. It's definitely a top-notch kit so far, but of course you can wait till I wrap up the review to make your decision. Please stay tuned for the next video. Like if you do, give me a comment. Thank you to Gundam Guy for providing the kit, and of course all you guys out there who are watching. Stay tuned for more videos, and I'll see you soon.